The Tesla Incident at Cripple Creek, KFUM Radio, Colorado Springs, Colorado, December 14th, 1954. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is KFUM Radio, broadcasting from Colorado Springs, Colorado, bringing you the voices and stories of the Pikes Peak region. Tonight, we present a most extraordinary broadcast, a deathbed confession that, if true, rewrites the history of our beloved Colorado mountains. What you are about to hear was recorded 12 days ago at St. Francis Sanatorium here in Colorado Springs. The gentleman you will meet is Mr. Silas Magruder, age 87, a former shaft miner of the Cripple Creek district. His story concerns events that allegedly transpired in the summer of 1900, events involving no less than Vice President Theodore Roosevelt and the renowned inventor Mr. Nikola Tesla. We must caution our listeners. The account you are about to hear contains descriptions of a most unsettling nature. Parental discretion is advised. Our correspondent, Mr. Harold Whitcomb, traveled to the sanatorium to conduct this interview. We now take you to that bedside where a dying man unburdened himself of a secret he has carried for 54 years. For theatrical effect, portions of this interview have been spoken in the style of other characters thanks to the generosity of the CCV Drama Club. This was done due to Mr. Magruder's health. Howdy, listeners. This is Harold Whitcomb with KFUM. I'm here with Mr. Magruder. Mr. Magruder, can you hear me? Are you comfortable enough to speak?
Comfortable. Son, I got lungs that look like Swiss cheese made of coal dust. I ain't been comfortable since McKinley was president, but I can talk, and I got to talk before these lungs give out permanent like.
Take your time, sir. Now, you've indicated you wish to tell us about something that happened in Cripple Creek in the year 1900. Is that correct?
That's right, and before you ask, yes, I know I signed papers. Yes, I know there was a government order to keep quiet, but that government paper was 54 years ago, and them government men are all dead now. I'm about to be dead. And there's something folks need to know before they go digging too deep into Pikes Peak again.
What exactly happened in June of 1900, Mr. Magruder?
We found something down in the Portland mine up in Victor, something that weren't supposed to be there, something that changed everything.
Can you describe what you found?
Gold, son, more gold than any man has a right to see, a whole cavern of it, 2,300 feet down, walls of pure gold, thick as your leg, would have made every man on that crew richer than King Midas himself.
That sounds like quite a discovery. Why wasn't this made public?
Because of what else was down there, what was living down there.
Living? What do you mean, Mr. Magruder?
I mean creatures, son, things that ain't in no natural history book, things that been living under Pikes Peak since, hell, maybe since before there was a Pikes Peak. It was late June 1900. I was 23 years old and strong as an ox, working the deep shafts in the Cripple Creek district. We was sinking a new shaft, pushing deeper than any mine had gone before, when Danny Kowalski's pick broke through into that cavern. Sweet merciful Jesus. The walls was solid gold. We stood there with our carbide lamps, 6 grown men, and every last one of us wept like babies. But then we heard it, the clicking noise.
Clicking? What was making that sound?
We didn't know, not at first. Then come the smell. Sulfur and rotted fish and something ancient, something wrong. Danny Kowalski, bless his fool heart, he stepped into that cavern first, took maybe 3 paces, then started screaming. I've heard men scream before, cave-ins, crushed limbs, what have you, but I ain't never heard nothing like what came out of Danny that day. It was the sound of a man whose brain just couldn't quite accept what his eyes was showing him.
What did he see, Mr. Magruder?
The creatures, they come out of the shadows like something from a fever dream, maybe 4 feet tall, built low to the ground like a lobster designed by a lunatic, blue-green color like turquoise gone rotten, and they glowed faint like in the dark. shells harder than granite, all covered in ridges and spines, 8, maybe 10 legs scuttling sideways and forward at the same time in a way that made your stomach flip. But the worst part was the faces, big black eyes like oil pools, and underneath these mouth parts that kept opening and closing, clicking, 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 showing rows of little triangle teeth sharp enough to bite through bone.
What did you do?
We ran, I ain't ashamed to say it, lost 2 men that day, Danny and a greenhorn kid whose name I can't recall. We sealed up that shaft with 6 feet of timber and concrete, and the foreman sent a telegram to Denver before the sun set.
And then what happened?
3 days later they showed up. First came a fella from the government, all nervous and sweaty in his city suit, making us sign papers and swearing us to secrecy on pain of treason and death and other such legal junk. Then come the interesting gentleman. Nikola Tesla arrived on the morning train from Colorado Springs, tall and thin as a rail, with this wild look in his eyes like he was seeing things nobody else could see. Wore a fine suit, but had it all buttoned up wrong. Kept muttering to himself in some foreign tongue and counting his steps, always in multiples of 3. But Tesla, odd as he was, weren't nothing compared to the other fella they sent, Vice President Teddy Roosevelt.
Bully. Absolutely bully. Underground creatures, you say. Defensive posture, territorial behavior. Outstanding.
Vice President Theodore Roosevelt came riding up the mountain on a horse what looked plumb exhausted from carrying his enthusiasm. He had more teeth than any man has a right to, and he showed 'em all when he grinned, which was constantly.
Now see here, Perkins. The President has given me full authority to handle this situation as I see fit, and I see fit to handle it with vigor and scientific inquiry. Where's the Serbian?
I am here. I am listening to the mountain. They are below. I can hear the resonance. Electromagnetic interference, but organic. Fascinating. Also disturbing. Mostly disturbing.
Mr. Tesla, delighted. Simply delighted. I've read your papers on alternating current. Marvelous stuff. Do you think your electrical apparatus might prove effective against these creatures?
No. But I have brought something else.
What had he brought, Mr. Magruder?
A machine about the size of a steamer trunk, made of copper and glass and covered in more dials and switches than a railroad yard. When he powered it up, it hummed and the air around it got staticky, the kind of feeling in the air that made your hair stand on end.
Splendid. What does it do?
It creates a harmonic frequency that should prove disagreeable to beings whose neural structure operates on bioelectromagnetic principles.
Excellent. It'll make their brains hurt, if they have brains. Onward, gentlemen.
We managed to break through the seal on that shaft at dawn on July 3rd, 1900. I remember the date on account of Roosevelt making some crack about independence and fighting tyranny, even if said tyranny comes in the form of subterranean crustaceans. They assembled a team to go down. Roosevelt, who led the charge in his typical gung-ho Rough Rider fashion, Tesla with his machine in tow, 4 government men with military bearing and Winchester rifles, and 6 of us miners. I was picked on account of my being part of the original crew that found the cavern.
So you went down into that cavern again?
It wasn't my first choice, but I didn't have much choice to begin with. The government is more than persuasive when it wants something done quiet-like, plus the extra compensation they offered was a nice addition. The descent took near 3 hours, and Tesla rode down with his machine, adjusting things the whole way. I remember Roosevelt kept up a running commentary about geology, evolutionary theory, and his time hunting grizzlies in the Dakotas.
Fascinating, isn't it? The mountain as ecosystem, as habitat. These creatures have likely existed in isolation for millennia. One wonders what evolutionary pressures shaped them. What predators did they face? What prey sustained them?
They know we are here. The vibrations, they feel them. We should proceed with caution.
How many do you suppose there are?
Sir, please. We don't know what might...
Nonsense. If they're territorial, they already know we're here. Might as well announce ourselves properly. It's the sporting thing to do.
When we reached the cavern floor, we set up our lamps and got our first real look at the place. Sweet Mary and Joseph, it was something. Gold everywhere, the walls, the ceiling, and random formations jutting up from the ground like frozen fountains. Must have been billions of dollars worth, and moving through it all, barely visible at first, was them. There must have been hundreds. They emerged from cracks and side passages, scuttling over the gold like it weren't nothing.
You social structure, like ants or bees. Mr. Tesla, do you suppose there's a queen?
I suppose we should not wait to find out.
Tesla started flipping switches on his machine. The thing came alive with this sound, hard to describe it really, like a scream and a hum and the feeling you get before lightning strikes, all mixed together. The creatures went berserk, started thrashing around, climbing over each other, making these high-pitched shrieking sounds that cut right through you.
Everyone, form a perimeter. We must protect Mr. Tesla's apparatus.
The government men started shooting. The bullets mostly just bounced off their shells, but it slowed them down some. We miners had our picks and shovels. I did learn that day that if you hit one just right at the joints where the shell segments met, you could crack through. But the bigger ones, the ones that was maybe 6 feet long, they kept coming at us, and getting close to them meant getting close to the mouth parts. Poor Bill Hendricks found that out the hard way. One of the big ones got him by the leg, and them triangle teeth went through him like paper.
The resonance. Not quite right. Must find the harmonic. There.
The machine let out this pulse. You could feel it in your chest, and the creatures just stopped all at once, froze like statues, shaking and twitching.
Now, drive them back into the deep passages. Seal them in.
What followed was maybe 20 minutes of the most savage work I've ever been part of. We drove them things back into the side tunnels while Tesla's machine kept up that god-awful noise. The government men set charges, dynamite they'd brought special.
Everyone back. Back, I say.
The explosions in that enclosed space damn near deafened me permanent. When the dust cleared, we stood in that cathedral of gold surrounded by the bodies of maybe 30 creatures and the sealed-off passages where hundreds more was trapped.
We must collapse the entire cavern, seal it forever. This gold, it is not worth the risk.
Mr. Tesla is right. The nation's security comes first. We'll bring down the mountain on them if we must.
And that's exactly what they did.
We pause now in our remarkable broadcast for a word from our sponsors, the fine establishments that make this programming possible. We shall return in just a moment to hear the conclusion of Mr. Magruder's extraordinary tale. Ladies, do you long for the elegance and beauty of a bygone era, for skin as radiant as the stars of the silver screen? Then journey to the lovely Rose Apothecary, nestled in the charming gold rush town of Victor, Colorado, where the secrets of old-world beauty have been preserved for the modern woman. At the lovely Rose Apothecary, proprietress Madame Ashley Black crafts each potion and cream by hand, using time-honored recipes passed down through generations. Our Rose Cold Cream, beloved by theatrical stars and society ladies alike, gently removes the dust and impurities of daily life, leaving your complexion soft as morning dew. Hear it from one of our customers.
Since discovering the lovely Rose, my skin has never looked more radiant. The Rose Vanishing Cream is lighter than air, yet it moisturizes so beautifully. My husband says I look 10 years younger.
Each luxurious preparation features the finest ingredients, pure rose hydrosol distilled from fresh petals, precious rosehip seed oil rich in nature's rejuvenating essences, and the delicate fragrance of Rose Otto imported at great expense from distant lands. Whether you choose the Rose Beauty Set for mature skin, the Geranium Collection for troubled complexions, or the Lavender line for sensitive constitutions, each treatment is formulated to bring the glamour of Hollywood's golden age right to your own dressing table. The Lovely Rose Apothecary, located on Victor Avenue in historic Victor, Colorado, high in the gold-laden mountains of the Cripple Creek District. It can also be found online, whatever that means, at www.thelovelyroseapothecary.com. Remember, ladies, true beauty begins with the lovely rose. And now, a word for the gentleman and for families seeking hearty fare and genuine Western hospitality. When the mining day is done and your appetite calls for satisfaction, there's only one destination: the District Kitchen and Saloon, Cripple Creek's finest establishment for victuals and fellowship.
After a long shift at the mine, there's nothing like a thick beefsteak and a cold beer at the District. The proprietor, Mr. Hellner, sets a fine table, and the portions are generous enough to satisfy the heartiest appetite.
Located on East Bennett Avenue in the heart of Cripple Creek, the District Kitchen and Saloon offers the finest cuts of Colorado beef, homemade sauces, and the best burgers this side of the divide. The kitchen operates daily, serving both lunch and supper to miners, merchants, and families alike. But that's not all. The magnificent custom acacia wood bar, seating 30 souls comfortably, features the finest selection of Colorado whiskeys, imported spirits, and locally brewed beers in the entire district.
The district ain't just a saloon, it's where the whole town gathers. Good food, good drinks, and good company. They even got separate dining rooms for the ladies and families.
The District Kitchen and Saloon, where Cripple Creek comes together. Open daily from 11 a.m. until midnight on East Bennett Avenue. Tell them KFUM Radio sent you. We return now to St. Francis Sanatorium, where Mr. Silas Magruder continues his deathbed confession regarding the events of July 1900 in the Cripple Creek Mining District. Mr. Magruder, you had just described how the creatures were sealed into the cavern. What happened next?
They set enough dynamite to drop half of Pikes Peak into that cavern. Took another week to place it all proper. We was evacuated to Colorado Springs, put up in a hotel with orders not to talk to nobody.
Were you present when they detonated the explosives?
No, sir, they sent us away. But on July 14th, 1900, we felt it. Even down in Colorado Springs, we felt the ground shake. They said later the explosion was so big they felt it in Denver. The Portland mine ceased to exist along with several adjacent shafts. Official story was a catastrophic cave-in due to irresponsible mining practices. 37 men was listed as dead, including Danny Kowalski and that Greenhorn kid.
And you survivors?
We got our $20 in gold and our non-disclosure agreements. Roosevelt gave us each a firm handshake and a speech about patriotic duty.
Gentlemen, what you have witnessed here must never be spoken of. The stability of this nation, the confidence of our people, these things rest upon your silence. You have served your country nobly. I ask that you serve it still by carrying this burden in silence.
Then he was gone, off to be president. When McKinley got shot the next year, Tesla went back to Colorado Springs to his laboratory, but he weren't the same.
Not the same? In what way?
Starting in August of 1900, strange things started happening at his laboratory. Equipment malfunctioning, electrical fires with no clear cause. His assistants reported seeing shadows moving through the building at night, hearing that familiar clicking sound. I visited him once in November of 1900. He looked like a ghost of himself, pale and wild-eyed.
Silas, come in quickly, close the door, lock it. They followed me. Up through the rock, through miles of earth. They are intelligent, more intelligent than we imagined. They sent a message. I am not welcome here anymore.
Mr. Tesla, I said, they're sealed in. We buried them under half a mountain.
You cannot bury something that lives in the earth. That is the earth. We merely inconvenienced them. And now they inconvenience me. Every night the clicking in the walls, in the floors. They are communicating, calculating. They remember, Silas. They will always remember.
On the night of January 7th, 1901, Tesla's laboratory caught fire. Not a normal fire. Witnesses said the flames was blue and didn't burn like regular fire. Tesla barely escaped with his life and a few notebooks. He left Colorado Springs the next morning and never came back. The official story said it was an electrical accident, but I knew and Tesla knew them creatures had gotten their revenge.
Mr. Magruder, this is quite an extraordinary claim. Why have you chosen to break your silence now after 54 years?
3 weeks ago, I read in the papers that they're planning to reopen the mines up at Cripple Creek. New techniques, they say, gonna go deeper than ever before. And I got to thinking about them things still down there, waiting, remembering. I don't know if they're still alive. I don't know if they bred and multiplied. I don't know if they're spread throughout the whole mountain by now, or if they all died when we collapsed that cavern. But I know what Tesla knew. Some things are better left buried.
You believe they're still down there?
Son, that gold is still down there, I'd wager. All them billions of dollars just waiting in the dark. And so are they, whatever's left of them. I'm telling this story as a warning to anyone who'll listen. There's treasure under Pikes Peak, sure enough, but there's also something else, something what don't take kindly to having its home disturbed. Roosevelt died in 1919, Tesla in 43. All them government men are long gone. I'm the last one what was there, the last one what went down into that golden hell and came back up, and soon I'll be gone too. And this story with me, unless you tell it, unless somebody warns them fools what want to dig deep into Pikes Peak.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Magruder?
Just this, son. If you're ever in Cripple Creek and you hear clicking sounds coming from underground, run. Run and don't look back. Some treasures come with a price that's too high to pay. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am too tired to continue. 3 by 3 by 3,
Mr. Magruder? Silas? Mr. Magruder has drifted off to sleep. This concludes our interview. According to hospital staff, he passed away 6 days after this recording was made. His last words, according to the attending physician, were 3 by 3 by 3, though this was attributed to delirium. And so concludes the remarkable testament of Mr. Silas Magruder, former shaft miner of the Cripple Creek District, who died on December 19, 1954, at the age of 87. We at KFUM Radio have made every effort to verify the details of this account. Our researchers discovered that Portland mine records for July of 1900 do indeed contain a 3-week gap with no explanation. We found documentation of a major cave-in on July 14th of that year, with 37 fatalities officially recorded. As for the presence of Vice President Roosevelt and Mr. Nikola Tesla in Colorado during that period, both men were known to be in the region, though specific records of their movements during those weeks are curiously absent from historical archives. Mr. Tesla's laboratory fire of January 7, 1901, is well documented. The unusual nature of the blaze was noted by several witnesses, though most attributed it to experimental electrical apparatus. Some speculate that these details could be behind General Partridge's insistence on the opening of an underground defense base near Cheyenne Mountain, which sits right next door to Pikes Peak. Whether Mr. Magruder's account is truth, delusion, or some strange admixture of both, we leave to you, our listeners, to decide. This has been a special presentation of KFUM Radio, Colorado Springs. Our thanks to St. Francis Sanatorium for permitting us to make this recording, and to Mr. Harold Whitcomb for conducting the interview. We remind our listeners that the mines of Cripple Creek have indeed been the subject of renewed interest in recent months. Whether Mr. Magruder's warning should be heeded, that remains a question for future generations. This is KFUM Radio, serving the Pikes Peak region. Good evening, and may your dreams be peaceful.